amazing day, grade 7 students. Welcome back to Valenzuela Facebook live streaming in science. I am Ishaida Rosilabador from Danan National High School. And today, I am very enthusiastic to guide you in learning essential ideas about our lesson. Before we formally start our exciting topic, allow me to give you some friendly reminders for our virtual science class. First, choose a comfortable learning space that is free from any form of distractions. Second, join our interactive discussion by including your ideas and answers in the comment section. And lastly, use your writing materials and science module in learning the concepts about today's lesson. For our discussion, the most essential learning competency that you should master is cite and explain ways of using Earth's resources sustainably. Anchored in this most essential learning competency are these two specific learning targets. First, describe the use of different Earth's resources. And second, explain ways on how to sustain Earth's resources. So, the question now is, are you ready to join me in this fun adventure? If yes, kindly press the heart or like button so that we can already proceed. We shall now start with the recap activity. Kindly read and analyze the statements that I will present. If you agree that the statement relays a correct idea, please type the word hooray. But if you disagree with the statement, just type the word hap-hap. Are the directions clear? If yes, then let us start. Statement number 1. The 5 lines of latitude have special names like equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, Arctic Circle, and Antarctic Circle. Your time begins now. Time's up. So, the correct answer is hooray. Good. Okay? So, let's proceed to statement number 2. Countries in the northern and southern temperate zones go through 2 seasons, which are dry summer season and wet summer season. Your time begins now. Time's up. So, the correct answer is hap-hap. So, to make the statement correct, instead of 2 seasons, it should be 4 seasons, which are winter, spring, summer, and fall. Okay? Let us go to statement number 3. The closer the latitude is to the equator, the colder the climate. And the closer it is to the poles, the warmer it gets. Time begins now. Time's up. So, the correct answer is hap-hap. To make the statement correct, it should be the other way around. The closer the latitude is to the equator, the warmer the climate. And the closer it is to the poles, the colder it gets. Okay, so let us now go to statement number 4. You can determine and describe the location of a certain country with respect to the surrounding land masses and bodies of water. Your time begins now. Okay, time's up. So, the correct answer is hooray. So, the statement is correct. Let us go now to the 5th and the last statement. The occurrence of monsoons or hanging habagat and hanging anihan is the result of interactions of different land masses and bodies of water with the atmosphere. Your time begins now. Okay, time's up. So the correct answer is hooray. Okay? So good job, grade 7 students. It shows that you can still recall the important concepts from our previous discussion. So before we move further, let's have a quick game. I suppose that every one of you is familiar with 4 pics, 1 word. Okay, so for each item, I will be showing you a set of pictures consisting of 4 different images. Below each of them is a jumbled letter word that needs to be rearranged to reveal the correct meaning of the pictures. Okay, so you will be given a few moments for each item to encode your educated guesses in the comment section. If you are ready, then let us begin. Here is picture number 1. Your time begins now. Time's up. So, the correct answer is water. Okay, let us proceed to picture number 2. Your time begins now. Time's up. So, the correct answer is soil. Okay, let us now proceed to picture number 3. Your time begins now. Time's up. The correct answer is minerals. Alright? Let us proceed to the last one. Okay, your time begins now. Time's up. So the correct answer is energy. Right? So very good, grade 7 students. Now, from the 4 terms, namely water, soil, mineral, and energy, what do you think will be our topic for today? Well, you guessed it correctly. Our lesson for today centers on natural resources. Earth is actually made up of numerous biotic and abiotic factors such as air, water, plants, animals, soil, rocks, minerals, crude oil, fossil fuels, and the like. These are called as natural resources, which are very important for survival and to also satisfy human needs. Okay, so Philippines is considered rich in natural resources. We have fertile, arable lands, high diversity of plants and animals, extensive coastlines, and rich mineral deposits. Moreover, we have natural gas, coal, and geothermal energy. Now, I want you to take a look at this image. Does it look familiar to you? Do you think that this is in the Philippines? Well, that's correct. Indeed, we are blessed that Philippines has such natural resources. So before we carry on, let us have a picture analysis activity. I will show you some natural resources that can be found in our country using illustrations or images. For every picture, I will provide a number series code which you have to unlock to reveal the exact meaning of the illustration. In unlocking, you have to translate the numbers into their corresponding letters in the alphabet. It means that 1 is A, 2 is B, 3 is C, and so on. Are you ready now? If yes, then let's begin. Hint number 1. It is an area of land on a slope which drains its water into a stream and its tributaries. It is sometimes called a catchment area or drainage basin. So, here is the code. 23, 1, 20, 5, 18, 19, 8, 5, and 4. Your time begins now. Time's up. So, the correct answer is watershed. The first natural resources that we will talk about are water and biodiversity. The main function of a watershed is the production of a continuous water supply that would maintain the life forms within it and in the area fed by its stream. Thus, watersheds are sources of water of many communities in the area. There are many watersheds in the Philippines, basically because we have abundant rainfall. Some of the most famous watersheds in our country are La Mesa Dam in Metro Manila, Pantabangan Dam in Pampanga, and Angat Dam in Bulacan. A single watershed may include combination of forest, grassland, marshes, and other habitats. Being a tropical country, Philippines has an abundant rainfall and an ideal temperature. And this explains why our country is considered to be a mega diverse country. As you can remember, you learned in your Araling Panlipunan subject that Philippines boasts of different kinds of natural water forms such as bays, rivers, lakes, falls, gulfs, straits, and swamps. The bodies of water and its surrounding environment not only support the survival of diverse organisms for food, but are also used for economic activities. Now, let us proceed to picture number 2. So this is the hint. It is a process of breaking down rocks and other materials near the Earth's surface to form soil. Here is the code. 23, 5, 1, 20, 8, 5, 18, 9, 14, and 7. Your time begins now. Time's up. So, the correct answer is weathering. The next natural resources that we will talk about are soil resources, rainfall, and temperature. Soil is a product of weathering, which has two types, namely mechanical weathering or the physical breaking of rocks, and chemical weathering, which includes the decay of rocks. Soil covers the entire earth. Temperature, rainfall, chemical changes, and biological action act together to continuously form soil. Climate, expressed as both temperature and rainfall effects, is often considered the most powerful in soil formation. Warm region soils are normally more developed and more mature than cold region soils. Thus, soils in the tropical areas are observed to sustain various farming activities and account for why the primary source of livelihood in the tropical countries like Philippines is their fertile land. Moreover, water also directly affects the movement of soluble soil nutrients from the topsoil to underground. Acidic rainwater may also contribute to the loss of minerals in soil, resulting in low yield. So, rainfall determines the kind of vegetation in an area. Now, let us proceed to picture number 3. Okay, so this is the hint. These are elements that are characterized as good conductors of heat and electricity and insulators. Here is the code. 13, 5, 20, 1, 12, 14, 15, 14, 13, 5, 20, 1, and 12. Your time begins now. Time's up. So, the correct answer is metal and non-metal. The next natural resources that we will talk about are rocks and mineral deposits. Mineral deposits can be classified into two types, metallic and non-metallic. Metals have properties that make them useful for specific purposes. You learned this during the first quarter in our chemistry class. The most important metallic minerals found in various parts of our country include gold, copper, iron, chromite, nickel, cobalt, and platinum. Philippines has also varied non-metallic resources including sand, gravel, limestone, marble, clay, and other quarry materials. The richness of the Philippines in terms of mineral resources is being attributed to its location in the so-called Pacific Ring of Fire that is associated with over 450 volcanoes and is home to approximately 75% of the world's active volcanoes. Geologists explain that under favorable temperature and pressure conditions, the metal-containing rocks and volcanoes continuously melt and redeposit, eventually forming rich mineral veins. Amazing, isn't it? Now, let us have the last picture. This is the hint. It is a type of energy generated from the heat from the ground. Here is the code. 7, 5, 15, 20, 8, 5, 18, 13, 1, and 12. Your time begins now. Time's up. So, the correct answer is geothermal. The last natural resources that we will talk about are energy resources. The tropical climate and geological conditions provide several possibilities to get clean and affordable energy. Geothermal power plants in our country are located in Banahaw, Makiling, Laguna, Tiwi in Albay, Bacman in Sorsogon, Palimpinon in Negros Occidental, Tongonan in Leyte, and Mount Apo side of Cotabato. Hydrothermal and hydroelectric power plants use water to generate electricity. They provide for 27% of total electricity production in the country. Used water from hydropower plants flows through irrigation systems. Many of the reservoir areas are used for sports activities. In the Philippines, we have coal and natural gas deposits. Coal is a black or brownish black solid rock that can be burned. It contains about 40% non-combustible components, thus a source of air pollution when used as a fuel. In the Philippines, so here's the trivia. Did you know that in Ilocos province, giant windmills are used to generate electricity? You heard it right. In Bangi, Ilocos Norte, the windmills do not help improve the tourism, but it also provides 40% of the energy requirements for electricity in the entire province. Very interesting to know, right? At this point, please take note that there are two types of natural resources on Earth. Those are renewable and non-renewable resources. A renewable resource can replenish itself at a rate it is used, like solar energy, biomass, soil, and trees. While a non-renewable resource has a limited supply like oil, coal, natural gas, and metal deposits. Knowing that not all resources are not endless supply, people must avoid wasting them. Conserving natural resources can make them last and be available for future generations. This is what sustainability means. Now, can you think of ways or activities that you, as grade 7 students, can do to promote sustainability of our natural resources? If you have something in mind, you may type your ideas in the comment section. Your time begins now. Time's up! So, thank you for your insights, dear students. All of your responses are highly commendable. Remember the following tips on how to promote sustainability of our natural resources. These are the things that even young children like you can do. First, Plant trees. Second, educate others. Third, walk, bike, or carpool. Fourth, turn scraps into compost. Fifth, use eco-friendly products. Sixth, volunteer for cleanup drives. Seventh, make waste segregation a habit. Eighth, save resources like water and energy. Ninth, practice 3 Rs or the reuse, reduce, and recycle. And tenth, be a nature ambassador using different social media platforms. So, to wrap up the essential ideas about our topic on natural resources, kindly join me in reading and reflecting in this scriptural text from Genesis chapter 2, verse 15. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and keep it. From this biblical passage, it is very clear that God formed the human beings not just to enjoy life, but be responsible caretakers of everything else that He placed on earth. We are all accountable to protect our planet because this is our one and only home. I hope that everything is understood and clear now. To deepen your understanding about this lesson, kindly attend your follow-up lesson with your respective science teachers. So, prepare your module and answer the assigned weekly activities. If you do not have any more questions, then let's call it a day. Thank you for joining our Earth and Space adventure today. I am truly happy and blessed for your active participation. So, see you in our next session. Have a good day ahead.
Good morning, grade 7 learners. Welcome to another episode of Valenzuela Live. I am Sir Fernan Cebu from Polo National High School, and I will be your virtual science teacher for today. For today, you will learn to cite and explain ways of using Earth's resources sustainably. Specifically, you will learn to identify the human activities that affect the natural resources and describe their effects. And also, you are asked to suggest ways to reduce the effects of human activities on natural resources. Before we start with our discussion, here's a few reminders. Number one, use the chat box in asking and answering questions. And number two, use appropriate words when chatting in the comment section. Let's have a recap of your discussion with Ma'am Shyla Rose about different natural resources before we proceed with our discussion for today. You need to identify the words that is being described in the following statements that I will show here. You have 5 seconds to answer each question. You should type your answer in the comment section. Let's start. Number 1. It is an area of land on a slope which drains its water into a stream and its tributaries. It is sometimes called a catchment area or drainage basin. 5 seconds, type your answer. The correct answer is watershed. Question number 2. It is a process of breaking down rocks and other materials near the Earth's surface to form soil. The correct answer is weathering. Question number 3. These are elements found on Earth that are characterized as good conductors and insulators. Okay, the correct answer is metal and non-metal. And lastly, it is a type of energy generated from the heat of the ground. The correct answer is geothermal. Before we start with our discussion, let's have a game. Are you familiar with 4 picks 1 word? Then, let's play the game. But this time, we will rename it as 4 picks, 1 cause. The mechanics are still the same. I will show you 4 pictures and tell me the word that best describes these 4 pictures. Jumbled letters are provided to help you uncover the word. Start with question or puzzle number 1. The correct answer is lagging. Puzzle number 2. The correct answer is poaching or the illegal killing of animals. Puzzle number 3. The answer is burning or incineration. Next one is the answer is overuse. And lastly, the correct answer is throwing, or for this discussion, this is throwing of garbages. This is the reason why we named the game 4 picks 1 cause. Because all features shows cause or human activities that us either affect or destroy our natural resources. Let us discuss each and every activity. The first one is illegal logging. Illegal logging refers to the harvesting, processing, transporting, buying, or selling of timber in contravention or violation of national and international law. To prevent the continuous cutting of trees, Philippine government made the Presidential Decree number 330 penalizing timber smuggling or illegal cutting of logs from public forests and forest reserves as qualified theft. How does illegal logging affect our natural resources? Since trees hold the soil, illegal logging of trees can cause landslide and flash floods. Second is dynamite fishing. Dynamite fishing is a destructive fishing practice using explosives to stun or kill schools of fish for easy collection. This practice destructs the coral reefs that serves as nursing ground for fishes. It also kills small fishes, which lessens their population. That is why fishermen are advised to use fishing nets with mesh size enough for small fishes to pass through. This is to give them chance to grow. The next one is the overuse of fertilizers and pesticides. Overuse of fertilizers and pesticides led to air, water, and soil pollution. Since fertilizers have more nitrogen content, this nitrogen will be absorbed by the soil, which erodes eventually into the bodies of water. Too much nitrogen content in water is a ground for algal bloom or eutrophication. Eutrophication is a process starting from the overabundance of algae and plants. The excess algae and plant matter eventually decompose, producing large amount of carbon dioxide. This causes fishes to die due to oxygen deprivation. Next one is deforestation. Deforestation refers to the decrease in forest areas that are lost for other uses, such as agricultural croplands, urbanization, or mining activities. This human activity affects our natural resources. Forests are being converted deliberately into something new to cope up with the increasing demands of the population. What is the effect? This leads to soil erosion and loss of natural habitat. The removal of trees and other types of vegetation reduces the available food, shelter, and breeding habitat. In the long run, it may lead to decrease in animal population and eventually extinction. Next one is poaching, or the illegal hunting and capturing of wild animals. This practice is being observed in other countries as a form of a hobby. Heads of wild animals are being preserved and hung into the walls of their home as a symbol of victory over the animals being killed. Others will slaughter rhinos for their horns, elephants for their tusks, lions and bears for their furs, snakes and crocodile for their skin, and other animals for meat. The effect of this activity is wildlife extinction. The next one is industrialization. Industrialization refers to the process in which a society transforms itself from a primarily agricultural society into an economy-based manufacturing. Converting agricultural lands into manufacturing affects the living organisms in the area. This leads to the destruction of the biodiversity in the area. A common activity done by people is throwing of garbage in the bodies of water such as river. When garbage are being dumped into bodies of water, lead to water pollution. Can you name some of these ways? Correct. The material you have mentioned are actually non-biodegradable, such as plastic and other plastic products, like drinking straws and sachets. In a recent documentary, Mass on the Beach, the impact of COVID-19 on marine pollution, discarded surgical masks adds up to tons of plastic in the oceans, and this mass will take 450 years to degrade. In effect, the garbage leads to water pollution and fish killing, and the increase in pollution in the water and population of water pests such as janitor fishes. Next one is incineration of garbages or the burning of garbages. This human activity is intended to lessen the physical garbage, but the chemical fumes of this garbage mixed with the air results into air pollution. Chemicals from the air, when mixed with rain, might result into acid rain, which damage crops, weakens trees, depletes soil nutrients, and contributes to corrosion of surface exposed, leading to deterioration of limestone and marble monuments and buildings. Next one is the use of aerosol and refrigerants. Aerosol products such as the one we use in cosmetics and painting, together with refrigerants used for air coolers, releases carbon dioxide and CFC or chlorofluorocarbon and other greenhouse gases. These substances contributes in the trapping of heat, or what we know now as the greenhouse effect. As the result of this trapping of heat, global temperature increases, which is what we know now as global warming. And last human activity is the mining and quarrying. Both mining and quarrying involves the process of extraction. Mining is extraction of materials buried on the ground, while quarrying is the extraction of materials from the surface. But how does mining and quarrying affect our natural resources? Since plants and animals living in the area where extraction happened, this leads to the deterioration of the flora or the plants and the fauna, which are the animals. Now that you know the human activities that affects our natural resources, help me think of ways on how we can reduce the effect of these human activities. I will show you phrases that pertains to the damaging human activities that we have discussed. Then, you will supply the missing letters of the word or words that will answer on how we can lessen the effect of such activities to our natural resources. Let's start. Here's the first one. Pile of garbage. Clue? Okay, the correct answer is recycling. This lessens the amount of garbage that needs to be disposed. Second, greenhouse effect. The correct answer is planting trees. With this, it lessens carbon dioxide and convert it into oxygen. Next, air pollution. The correct answer is biking and walking. Instead of riding an automobile, biking and walking is a good form of exercise when you go to nearby places. Bicycles do not use gas and does not release smoke that harms the environment. Riding a bike and walking is also a good form of exercise. Next, thinning of the forest. The answer is reforestation. Based on House Bill 6930, seeks to mandate that parents, whether legally married or not, to plant 2 trees for every child born to them. Planting can be done in their home premises or in the designated area in the barangay. And last one, biodegradable waste. The answer is composting. With this, we can recycle the biodegradable waste and use it as organic fertilizer for plants. Okay. Here are some of the activities that you can do as a student to conserve our natural resources. This is based on the listing of oceanservice.noaa.gov. First one is bike more, drive less. Use bike instead of automobile vehicles. Next is the 3 R's. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Cut down on what you throw away. Follow the 3 R's to conserve natural resources and landfill space. Next is to choose sustainable seafood. Catch only those who are big fishes and let go of the small ones so that you will give time for them to grow. Next is to plant a tree. Trees provide food and oxygen. They help save energy, help clean air, and help in combating climate change. Next one is to conserve water. The less water you use, the less runoff and wastewater that eventually ends up in the ocean. And shop wisely. Bring a reusable shopping bag instead of packing them with plastic bags. And volunteer for clean-ups in your community. You can get involved in protecting our natural resources. Use energy-efficient light bulbs as this will reduce greenhouse gas emission and leave the light switch off when you leave the room. Don't send chemicals into our waterways. Better use fertilizers that are organic or the one that you got from the composting. And lastly, be educated. Exposure to relevant information will help others understand the importance and value of our natural resources. Since we are talking of educating ourselves, you can also educate others by being an environment advocate. As your exit task, think of a problem that you see in your household that needs to be changed. Make an infographic, poster, or signage on how to address this problem. Here's an example. A mixture of different garbage is thrown in the trash bin. What can you do? You can make a poster with message such as this. Or you can make an infographic or you can make a signage. And that's all for today. Good day and stay safe.